Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, today I'm going to be answering a question from Patty Graham, and I'm going to be using Mariola Buttocks. Ooh, I hope his name isn't Buttocks. Okay, stop giggling. I found him on Etsy, and he does beautiful work, and this is some of his graphite work. This is came from a set that I purchased of hair, and I just printed it off my printer. And so instead of doing a whole picture, because I have a whole picture, one that I'm going to be just almost finished with the editing, and that'll be out within like a day. I wanted to answer Patty's question really quick because it's a good question, an easy question to answer, and I get to play with my graphite pencils. So I printed this out in gray form. He has them in black also. And I'm going to be using graphite because it's faster for me. So I'm letting him do the work because there's really not much more that you can do on this. Just looking for the right pencil here. I've gotten out my HB pencil, and that's basically a number 2 pencil for those who are wondering what the HB is. I've gone through and I did the graphite, what each graphite pencil is and what it does. So this is your mid-range pencil, and I'm going to just go over some of this so that I get some graphite on the page. It would be helpful if I told you what question Patty had. She wants to know how I get my whites white. I feel like I'm doing laundry. I have several different ways of getting my whites white, and sometimes I don't even get my whites white. Sometimes I leave them as a lighter shade of a pencil. So if you have a red, I may do a highlight in pink. And that's one way I display or show a highlight. Sometimes I do highlights in yellow. If the sun is shining down on something, I may do a yellow highlight. And then other times I do highlights, of course, in white. Now you could do highlights in, I have several different products that I use, and I'll show them to you. Some artists that I've seen do white by leaving the page white. And I guess that's okay. It's not my preferred way of doing highlights, but it is some people's preferred way of doing highlights. And as you could see right here, as I go with the graphite over these areas, it's making the white stand out, and that's the white of the page. So it's okay to do that, especially when you're doing graphite work. And if you want to bring the highlight closer, like there, and add some lines in it, that works. But sometimes you just want something that's really bright. And I'm going to show you the products that I use. I don't use one over the other. It's kind of like what I'm in the mood to do. So, okay, just wanted to get a little bit of graphite on there so we can show it, because white on white is hard. Okay, first, a white pencil. There is nothing wrong with using a white pencil on white paper. And granted, you can't see it very well. You can really in person, especially when it's up against a darker, you can kind of see it. Now, if you're going to do this, I do recommend that you, like if you're working with graphite and you're going to use a white pencil, or if you're working with some of the other colors and you're going to use a white pencil, I would put a spray fixative on the paper just so that when you're blending it in and you want to leave it white, it stays white and it doesn't pick up any of the pigment from the surrounding areas. Now you can see the white. I'm going to do it over some of the darker areas. You could see it becomes a little bit gray. Over, you can see it right there. It becomes gray. You're not going to get white, white, white unless you use a white, white, white. So pencil does work. If you put this over another color, you will do it by, picking up a lighter shade. That's how you're going to make a lighter shade of the same hue. So that's one way. Okay, so let's go on to another way that I do it. The next way is by using a acrylic pen, and Posca is one. If you've been watching YouTube, everybody uses Posca. I also use Triton and I use Acrylico. I like all three of the brands. I like them for different reasons. I do like my Triton pens for highlights and my Posca for highlights. I don't really like the Acrylico for highlights. If I had to rank them, I would probably be going Posca for whites, then Triton, then Acrylico, with pretty much the same results. I do like the Triton colors better, so when I buy the set, the white comes with it. So here you have white going over. The only problem about using an acrylic pen is sometimes you get an abrupt stopping and you don't get a nice flow. While the pen is wet, I usually stick my finger in and I pat it down. By patting it down, it kind of gives it a more flow on the paper. I waited a little long for over here, so okay, that's better. And I could tailor it off into a much more natural look. And usually after I've been using my paint pens, I look like I've been using my paint pens and they're all over me. But that's the way it is. Now, what I like about the paint pens is if you don't like what something looks like, as soon as it dries, you just color over it. And you could shade it. So this line looks a little bit abnormally bright white. I could tone that whiteness down as much as I want so that I get a much more natural highlight, which now it is a much more natural highlight. Highlights aren't always bright, bright white. So you have to, kind of work your way around that. So those are a few of the ways. The last way, I just bought the product. I haven't had it for very long. And that's the colored pencil white, titanium white. Now, you use this in the same way as you would use the acrylic. You open it up, there's white in here. I usually use a medicine cup because I have them, which I don't seem to have it, so I'll just put it out. You tap some onto the bottom of the cup. Then you're going to add another product called Colored Pencil Touch-Up Texture, and it's by brush and pencil. I add a few drops to that, and then I blend that up, mix it really well. The thing about this is you can get a bright, bright white or a light translucent white, depending on how much powder you put in, and it works each time. That's the positive thing about it. The drawback to it is that you have to use detail brushes, so each time you're getting out your detail brushes, and you have to be good with a paintbrush, because if you're not good with a paintbrush, you can have lines that look like crap. Sorry. Shh. So it all depends on what you like. My favorite way of doing it, do I have a favorite way? Not really. I do all of it, all depending on the picture. And that's how I do it. So I hope this answers your question, Patty. She asked it on my candy picture, and that's how I did it. Once you do a finishing spray on it, now I use the acrylic finishing spray by Krylon, and I use high gloss. That's really my favorite finishing spray. Brush and pencil made a finishing spray. I have that one. It works good, but it's not as bright as my Krylon. I like my pages like so that they shine off the, out of the book, that you just know, and it brightens the colors for me, and it prevents what do they call it now? My brain is That's what happens when you're 54 years old. Your brain just goes wax bloom. Okay. Wax bloom. So it prevents the wax bloom, and it fixes actually wax bloom. So it's kind of like adding the clear coat to your nail polish. And those are some of the ways I brighten my colors up. Because really, once a pencil starts doing wax bloom, there's nothing much you could do with it except put a clear coat on it to fix it. So I do hope that I answered your question, and if anybody else has any questions, just put them in the comment section below, or I am always open to you from my email. I have coming up, I have another CMW, and and I know that Tammy's listening, and she's going, say it, Lori, say it. I did putty beige. Everybody knows that watches me, I do not like putty beige, but, well, do not like it, green eggs and ham either, and look what happened in that one, so that should be interesting, and I have 2 videos on that coming up, just a teeny drop more of editing to it. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and by the way, I just want to tell you, and everybody, for the record, my friend Barbie has been sending me feet pictures, knowing I don't like feet. So she has decided to send me a foot picture a day. Now, it's not like she has ugly feet. She's very lucky, because just knowing her, I'm going to get these gnarly pictures of fungus. But I just wanted to let everybody know, for my protection, that Barbie is sending me feet porn. I'm going to get her. Love you, Barbie. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.